Okay, call the meeting of the Fire and Police Committee to order. Just a bit of information, this is a public meeting that is being recorded for public consumption and will be posted on the borough website at our earliest convenience. Roll call, please.
Bill Jenks.
Here.
Fred Vogel.
Here.
Ron Stanko.
Here.
Fred Levering.
Here.
And Steve Bruner will be absent.
Okay, we do have a quorum. We'll move on to public comments as they relate to items that are on today's agenda. Are there any public comments that are dealing with the agenda? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to Westernburg's ambulance. Tony.
Hi, how are you guys today?
Good afternoon.
It is an afternoon. I don't want to say it was good or not yet. You have our monthly report in hand. Some notable aspects are call volume's a little bit up due to the summer heat. We've had a few more incidents over at the lovely Blue Marsh, one being on Saturday. Other than that, it's status quo with everything else. I did bring you a feasibility study for discussion. Our board is looking to start talks of conducting a capital campaign. Now, none of us have conducted a capital campaign before. This is all new territory to everyone else. Megan Kerber, who some of you might know maybe from over at Alvernia, who's a big fundraiser for Berks County. Her and associate Rick Blaine would be doing the feasibility study for us. Basically, it's just going to be to do some interviews with selected individuals to see if a capital campaign is feasible for us to do. Capital campaign would be for ambulances, for structures, for equipment, all that, which goes above and beyond where we're already out of all of our municipal contributions. As you know, we did report on that we did purchase new monitors this year, and some equipment that went out of date because it's over 8 years old at the cost of about $1.5 million. So again, trying to get those things cost and not out of operating is what we're looking to do. This is just a preliminary feasibility study. Nothing's going to be taken or done with it yet. It's just for us to see if we can do it. So we wanted to come to our boroughs, our municipalities, our townships to see if they have any objection to us starting this type of feasibility study.
Look at the staffing as well.
Yes. Staffing is a big one. But again, staffing is usually out of operating. But if I'm buying capital out of operating, then I've got the same problem.
Now, if this process goes through,
Then we'll be back to you to tell you what we're planning on doing in phase 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
okay, which would be including like Wyomissing, whose residents are already
It has nothing to do with membership.
nothing to do with that.
Nothing to do with membership or anything of that. It's to look to see what we can do to get a capital campaign for $3 to $5 million. We don't even know if that area can. Question? No? If the area can afford it, let alone this. But again, you've got to start somewhere
Right.
with it. Again, we've got a lot of areas in here that do donate very well, but it's getting them committed to a 5-year plan from what I understand. But I don't know how to do this, so we're bringing in someone to just tell us.
Makes sense.
So I'd like to ask a dumb question, probably.
Yes, Ron, I accept your $2 million check.
That's no problem. I'm just curious. There's a whole lot of trucks out there now at Tower Health. Sounds like the National Football League has some competition with USFL. So how many more ambulance operations are there that want to take over as many as they can because they want to get all the insurance money that comes in and pay all these people to drop them off at the hospital?
There are 13 services in Berks County right now that perform ALS and one does BLS. No one between the two health systems wants to take on more area because again, every one of us has the same issue of staffing, and we all have the same issue of reimbursement costs because, again, they're even getting worse on the reimbursement end because they're accepting what the health system contracts them with, and if they can bump up their cardiac cath money for more versus getting more in ambulance reimbursement, then they'll negotiate that away rather quickly.
So how are they gonna get their funding to keep them moving? Like you're out there looking at a fundraising opportunity.
Well,
Keep
that's,
your
that's the same as everybody else. Tower's doing a fundraiser, they're what, 1.5 billion in debt?
So that's what I thought.
Yeah,
Everybody.
everybody's doing, I mean, Tower has their foundation that does it. You know, and again, without being a municipal-based entity, we're still a nonprofit, we're still trying to raise that, you know, I'm buying trucks out of capital, not out of capital, out of operating.
And it's fair to say, from all the publicity and so forth, you're not the only one who's in this predicament.
Yeah.
And, you know, as I've said numerous times, we need a county-wide EMS, fire, and possibly police. But at least fire and EMS.
I'll go with the first two. Definitive.
We needed that for years.
Tony and I talked about this once before, or several times, but the idea that that Tower and Penn State are going to provide the service in order to get patients is not valid, because they're going to get those patients anyhow. There are going to be places that are taking, that people are taking to, so they're going to not affect their stream of patients. Because of their own internal debt obligations and operating problems and so on, they can pull the plug on the ambulance service next week.
So how many agencies are gonna be walking through that door and ask us about fundraising for the same reason?
Yes, Gus.
Just
I would
us.
say yes, Gus.
Because he's coming in here and asking us what we think of his doing a fundraising opportunity.
Well, yeah, because it's the areas we serve. We're looking into again,
So
areas
does
we
Tower
serve.
Health,
But they don't service this area.
they don't.
We are the,
They just drive around on this. I see.
they do transports, and they cover us second due, just like I cover them second.
I'm just trying
Yeah.
to figure out whether there's gonna be a.
No, there's not. We're the primary service, and that's what we do.
Have you talked with United Way about capital campaigns from other nonprofits of
Yes.
this size?
And they were the ones that said she's getting a capital campaign manager, and again, I don't have the expertise. You want me to save your life?
No.
I know, but yeah, we even asked the community foundation.
Yeah, that's why I suggested starting with United Way, because they would have.
Do you want to donate? Or do a 5-year pledge or something?
I'll accept your $2 million, Tom. You were wrong, I don't even have to, between the two of you, I don't even have to have a capital campaign now. Okay, feasibility study ended. Huh?
Okay, as you heard from Tony, the municipal partners are being asked to, indicate whether we support or oppose the study being performed. We have a motion on the agenda to table, approve, or deny, recommending council ratify the decision of the Fire and Police Committee to support or not support Western Berks Ambulance performing a capital fundraising feasibility study, and I will make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Further question on the motion?
Will
Hearing-
this affect our budgeting, or is this,
No.
Yes.
Your-
Yes.
It may affect your personal home budget.
I like you.
Yes, sir.
With regard to the funding you now get from us, would you be coming in and asking us as a borough to contribute more toward that program you're now trying to develop? Or is it-
No, this is completely separate from membership and municipal contribution for that. This is looking at finding large dollar donors, as they'll tell you, that there's some that donate to the police department all the time that you know very well. Is trying to find those donors that will donate to do some type of longevity planning, 5-year commitment, so that you can plan on those dollars accordingly. This has nothing to do with municipal contributions.
Well, you will be asking us to increase the
At some point in time,
Yeah.
some point in time,
Is there a
always
reason
look.
why you're asking for
for our support or opposition, or?
So-
because-
There is a municipality in our coverage area that likes to question everything, but we bring it to all of those.
He's just heading off questions before they are presented.
Correct.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the table. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
And if I don't get to you at the end of August, the membership donation drive, of what we're talking separately, will be going out mid-September.
Hopefully, those cards and letters keep coming in.
Are there any changes with municipalities?
So,
Getting more address?
Wilmersdorf is in the process. Wyomissing is in the process. So,
I had that conversation.
which one, Wilmersdorf or Wyomissing?
Robbie.
Oh, yeah, I've been after them for a while, but Wilmersdorf and Robbie are coming that way. Toppahawken is looking like it will also go, but we only receive a portion of their funding because we're just the primary ALS, not the primary total service. And people are starting to listen. I mean, the EMS and crisis thing that the CELG did was good. I think we need to capitalize on that more. As you and I were on the train, again, I told Commissioner Leinbach here, I'll give you the keys now if you want to do a countywide system. It makes the most sense, but as he said in front of you and I, no, I'm not touching that.
Do these people, there's a question, do these people, or you guys, do they get on the board then eventually here when they start handing out more tax money?
They can, I can request the board.
I'm just wondering.
But again, we can ask the board if they want to open it up. But again, if you go to a municipal type entity, authority type model, then yes, the municipalities would be the authority board.
We had pursued that.
Yeah, and we're still working on that. But trying to get 15 communities in line to do one thing, so we're gonna work on the small ones.
Birding cats.
Yes, sir. Other than that, please stay hydrated. It's gonna be a hot one this week. And don't leave any kids locked in your cars.
Or dogs.
Or dogs. I will break windows, as so will the chief. Husbands are completely separate. They're watered and fed at Target. You're good.
Okay, anybody else have anything for Tony? Thank you very much, sir, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate your professionalism and everything that you do to support the residents of the borough and the visitors. Okay, moving on to West Side Emergency Management.
Okay, couple of items here. I have, just want to make a note of, maybe it's tied into the police report too, I don't know. We did have several operation plan meetings with Chief Phillips and Lieutenant Bauer on occasion there for the July 4th parade. And I just want to make note that the operations center here was open. Chief Phillips reviewed the operations plan. The DOC staffing procedures went smoothly, I thought, during the parade. We had an after-action meeting regarding things that happened during the parade of that, and discussed events and the procedures that were followed. There were several ideas for event planning and EOC performance for changes that could be made or noted for next year. And those were included, but I just want to make a note that overall I thought that it was a nice job and the work done by all was, I thought, very good, considering it was the first time we kind of threw everybody into one pot. It's not an easy thing to do, and I thought everybody did a nice job.
I don't believe so, because that's much smaller than, but I'll bring that up to the chief.
We had, just as a follow-up, we had the tabletop session for the Ohlone Dam Emergency Operations Plan on July 9th at Leesport. Just mentioning this because Wyomissing and West Reading and Spring are kind of tied in with that, considering where we're located along the river or the creek up here at Toppahawken. Our involvement is a little less than some others who may be in the middle of much more water than what we might get from that. Most of ours is back up along our streams and things, rather than watching the big rush go down the river. But I am going to, Chief Holmes is gonna actually stop by tomorrow to get some information there that we went over at the tabletop that would have to do with Wyomissing. Basically what we have is three areas where we have to do some traffic control that involve areas that could get inundated there by some of the water. We're just gonna go over that map quickly and take a look at that, because we'll have that people that he can assign to those spots if needed. The other thing that I had here was the 911 system was down over the July 13th weekend for several hours, and I don't know that there were any major problems with it here in our communities. I did send a note out when I got the word of that, finally, that could be posted on the website if we wanted to, and I don't know if we did it here in Wyomissing or not. I know Spring put something on, but I don't know if we did or not. And luckily, I don't think anything else happened before they resolved the issue. But I will say that they called when it went out, the issue, but they didn't call when they got back online. I didn't hear anything right away till I finally called and said, hey, what's going on? And they said, oh, we fixed it. I said, oh, it'd be nice if I do. And
The follow-up also was that it was a technical issue, it wasn't really sort of
that part I didn't know.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't a hack.
Just a
it was-
technical issue. Well, that's good, yeah. The other thing I have here on the list was just an official change for one of the deputy coordinator positions, and that is that Mitch Soder will replace Brent Watts, who was in the officially listed position as the Wyomissing coordinator. It will now be Mitch, who's on the roster as Wyomissing, but really all the deputies, any of the deputies can serve any of the communities. It's just that we're listed under the Wyomissing roster position. So that's all I have. Unless anybody has any other questions for me.
Any questions for Tom? I would like to address one thing, Jana brought up a good point. What about the Memorial Day parade? And just to address that, and then Lieutenant, if you want to tag on, please do. If I had one phone call or somebody come up to me, I had at least 100 people who noticed the proactive approach that we took and wanted to know why. And I said, unfortunately, we're in that time that, while there were no credible threats, and again, I'll repeat that, there were no credible threats, with the size of the 4th of July parade, we were considered a soft target, as many other places are that have events of that proportion. That is why the police department took the proactive approach to establish this. And again, with all the goings on around the world and so forth, people came up to me and commended us for that proactive approach. You want to tag on to that?
No, just as you said, we're just being proactive with the world the way it is today. Not only just terrorism, it could be an accident. Someone behind the wheel intoxicated, have a medical issue, and they could just drive right by those little plastic barricades and do a lot of damage. So we thought, let's try to get ahead of the game here and put up some more hard barriers and just protect the citizens.
Does with any big thing that happens in that weekend, we look what happened in New Orleans and everything else, they didn't have barriers. Someone gets an idea that they want to drive through a crowd, they're going to drive through a crowd.
And like,
We were just proactive.
yeah,
very
not just the
proactive.
idea, it could be a medical issue. Someone have a heart attack or a stroke or anything, and you just pass out behind the wheel, now they're going through a little plastic barricade. So
And
that's why we did that.
just a kudos to all who was involved in this. This was not a small task. This involved the police department, the Wyomissing Fire Department, Wyomissing Public Works, Western Berks Ambulance, First County or West Side Emergency Management. Okay, a lot of people were involved in this, and we got a lot of support with borrowing barricades from other municipalities as well. So it wasn't a small task, but it was pulled off by all involved. And Mayor, thank you for being involved in this also. So just want to make note of that. Okay. Anything else for Tom? Thank you, sir. Okay, moving on to the police department. Lieutenant.
The first thing here is the chief has included the 6-month report. We'll see if there's any questions. I'll go over it. One thing of importance to point out, he's about $200,000 under budget for the year, so I think that's a positive.
No, you can't spend that.
Besides that, if there's any questions on the report, I can answer them.
I do first.
That doesn't include overtime for the 4th of July parade.
That's true. So moving on, we have the safety stick implementation proposal here. I was not part of the meeting where the gentleman came in and proposed this, but we need to decide, number one, if this is something we're going to proceed with. Do you want me to go over this whole proposal here, or where do we want to start with this?
Might as well, just for in case nobody's.
So the safety stick is what they're proposing is they have a camera that they would put on a sign at the 4 spots in front of 900 Block Hill Avenue, and if they would, whatever time limit we set, proposal is 15 minutes. It would take pictures of any violations and email them to us. Once we verify that it was in fact a violation, we would say yes, it's a violation. They would send out the ticket. The chief and I went out there and measured. It's about 93 feet. There's a crosswalk there, so there's with the no parking, there is a 20-foot requirement at an intersection. It's kind of mute at crosswalks, but we figured to stay within that 20 feet. We put the first sign about 9 feet from the crosswalk, 9 feet from the first sign, which will give us 20 feet from the crosswalk. And then there's another 84 feet there where we figured we could get 4 spaces in there. So that would be the proposal. The proposed parking time limit would be 15 minutes. We'd have to have signage that an arrow on each sign saying no parking or 15-minute parking in these spaces. And the wording should indicate the amount of time allowed to park and that the parking must be between the posted signs. The revenue share would be that 40% goes to the vendor, plus another $2 to $3 per citation, and the final fee split in terms would be needed to be set in the contract. And the chief is proposing that we have in the contract a clause that if insufficient revenue is not generated from the violations, that the safety sticks will be removed, so there'll be no cost to the borough for utilizing their devices. And he has pictures there where he believes the signage should be put.
Lieutenant, you want to explain the process of once a car is in violation?
They would notify us that we have a similar program going on with the school bus violations. They notify us, hey, these are the violations. We would have a designated officer review the violations, say, yes, it's a parking violation, they were there more than 15 minutes, or no, it's not. Those where there are a violation, they will contact the vendor and say, yes, this is in fact a violation, send it. They then do all the processing of the tickets, and they'll send the fine.
Again, it's similar to the what we're doing for the school buses. We've been doing for a while with the Wilson school buses, and now we're going to start with the Wyomissing school buses. It's a pretty slick process and program, and
it's amazing how many violations there actually are with school bus violations.
I
mean, it
those,
really
and
woke me up when I
It's
saw
amazing. Yeah, it really is very surprising. I didn't think that many people ignore school bus.
And we always got a handful of complaints from bus drivers, but not this many. I mean,
Yeah.
it's alarming.
Anybody have any questions on this?
As a practical matter, this is the only way to enforce it. You don't have enough officers.
Yeah, we could.
No.
We
So,
could
yes,
have someone there all day.
so if we're serious about having 15-minute parking,
Yes.
it's gotta be enforced.
Because otherwise, people are just gonna park there, employers are gonna park there, or people going into dinner. So,
Yeah, we just have to work that contract, because I think they want $150 per
Yeah.
stick in income per
Yes.
month. If we don't hit that fee, and I assume that's like if the violation's $20, then all $20, not $150 of their income versus ours, that's what I'm
Yeah.
unsure
Well,
of.
what the chief has in this document is essentially a counteroffer to
Right.
the
Exactly.
vendor.
Okay,
So if the committee and council was in support of this, we would need to go back to the vendor and say, this is what we would like to do, what we're willing to do, and would you enter into a contract with these terms? So we can't assume that this is agreeable to that, this is just what the chief is proposing.
yes, because we're not here to generate revenue, so we're not gonna
we're also
guarantee them
here not to
revenue.
spend money.
Exactly. You know, so, I
Okay.
mean, ideally, I hope that we get 0 violations and everyone's doing what they're supposed to do, but unfortunately, that's not the case.
So, we do have on the agenda, a motion, to table, approve, or deny the time parking recommendations as discussed by the committee, and moving this on for, proper agreements, and move on to council. And I will make that motion.
Second.
Motion second, additional questions on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
Just for everyone's information, yeah, I think the next step would be to go talk to the vendor about a potential contract. But then ultimately, we're gonna need an ordinance in order to implement this, because the regulations that would support this would have to be established by ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything else for the police department?
I have, 2 places of crosswalks that I wanted to ask about. At Hill Avenue, as I get through there regularly, I've noticed that there are people that park in the parking lot opposite the lot. On the block side, there's a set of stairs that line up across from where the alley is, the little used alley there next to the hairdresser, and people crossing. Would it be wise to paint the crosswalk there? I mean, if people are gonna do it one way or the other, I think it would alert the drivers that.
I don't know what planning went into putting this crosswalk, so I don't know if, I have to go back to the chief with that. I don't know if we have to do a study for the crosswalk.
Probably, because TPD, our traffic engineer, was part of that. You'd also then have 3 crosswalks across that one block, and 2 would be maybe 25
But
minutes.
it's just because of that set of stairs, people just do. They're walking across, they're gonna walk across the street.
Nobody uses either the crosswalks.
I do. I've seen people use them.
I've seen somebody 6 feet apart walk.
I've seen that too, but I have seen people use them.
Well, that's good.
The other,
Guilty as charged, a couple weeks ago I did too.
the other location that came to my attention because basically I screwed up is on the boulevard as you're heading from Penn Avenue toward the circle at, I guess it would be Dolphin. There's a gated crosswalk, but there's no sign that says yield to pedestrians in the crosswalk. There is down at Garfield. And then when you turn west on Reading Boulevard, there's a yield to people on the crosswalk sign again. There's none up there. And I, just the other day, was heading toward the circle, and I guess I was thinking about something else, probably important for work. And somebody gave me a dirty look. They were crossing the aisle, and I didn't catch it, you know, and so I was in fault. But there is no sign alerting the driver that there's yield to pedestrians. Is there a reason that there's no sign at that spot or the others?
I'm wondering if there was at one point somehow something happened. And I just
Well, there's none, it's also heading toward the circle, or toward Penn Avenue. There's none there either.
Does that have to be a
more signs.
You want this on Penn Avenue, correct?
No, it's
No,
on
in
the
the
boulevard
boulevard.
at Dolphin,
Boulevard.
in both.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
In both directions.
That's just going on, so without any permission.
I'll ask Public Works to take care of that.
Very good. Anything else? Thank you, Lieutenant. Okay, we'll move on to the fire department. Ethan.
Good afternoon. Monthly activity report for July was included in your packet for the committee. Year to date, as of Friday, we were up to 1,040 runs for the year, 116 for the month of July. As of Friday, 71 in the borough, 45 in each ward. Training, the staff put in 157 hours worth of training this month, bringing us close to 1,200 hours for the year. And point of interest there on our inspections, they've gone up. We're up to 367 as of this past Friday. There's still some other ones that are scheduled and being completed this week that will fall into the council report. It's been a fairly active month, a little slower than normal, but it did pick up here along with the incident distribution map. You can see where the majority of our call volume is. Again, it's on the Penn Avenue and north side of the borough, as well as where we're going each way. A lot of green dots that are on there. The brighter colors show more of a density for responses to that area. Just a quick update on our hiring processes for this year. The entry-level test, the written test was done on Saturday the 19th, proctored by Bucks County Community College. There were 7 candidates that were invited to the test, 5 showed up. Their scores were passed on to them, along with the dates for the physical agility testing, which starts August 5th. And that's hosted through a consortium out of Lancaster County. All the candidates would go down to Lancaster Public Safety Training Center to complete that testing. The last test date for that is September 21. The Deputy Chief written exam was this past Saturday on the 26th. 5 candidates were invited to sit for the test, 4 showed up. At some point this week, Bucks will send me the scores, which will be sent out to each of the candidates with the dates for the panel interview. The main person who handles the testing is on vacation until the middle part of this week, so I'm hoping to have those out by the end. And that is all I have for the fire department.
Okay, any questions, Chief? Thank you very much, sir. Okay, we have anything else to discuss?
Executive session.
Executive session, yes. Okay, this time we're going to adjourn into executive session. Do not speculate, there will be no official action when we come back into a public meeting.
Is this a personnel matter?
My vote?
I mean, you can be if you want to, but
Go.
I don't think so.
I'm glad to be here.
Oh, I'm not close to this.
See, what is the purpose of the executive session? What will it be?
Personnel matters.
Personnel matters?
Yes.
In what department?
I would say.
Fire department.